these chords are very unusual and you don't expect them to come. And I can't think of who it is, but it's a popular band who used the exact same thing. Hopefully I think of it before the end of the show.
I hope you do too.
But if I don't, I'll mention it. Hopefully
we could just stare at each other until it comes to you, if you'd like. Do you want to
2-hour show? No, don't do that. It's weird.
It's the holiday season.
It sure is.
We were just complaining about how work and jobs should be winding down, and for some reason people find ways to keep it going into December, and you're just like, why? Shut it down.
All work and no play makes Alex a dull boy.
Very, very dull. Very dull. But then what would I have to complain about? Right?
That's right. That's true.
You know? So
it's very true.
Hey, look, so it is Christmas time, but before we get into some Christmas chatter, you've written 3 books, correct?
I have.
Well, you're also on the back of another book I just received. Look at you.
Oh,
hey,
look at
Mr.
you.
Author. Hey. Oh, look at this. A little shout out to Sean Barrett here for his first book, First Guitars.
Yes.
It just came in the mail for me today. It was all crowdfunded, Kickstarter crowdfunded, but yeah, guitar strings, guitar players, and their stories of the guitars that made them. I'm really excited about this book, and you're quoted on the back of this book, Mr. Jensen. How's that? That's pretty cool.
No, this is a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, I was very honored to do that, particularly based on the names of the book. In the book, because you've got some big names in there, and he could have easily asked any of those people to do that. So I appreciate that quite a lot.
That's super cool, man. Right on. You're quoted on the back of a book.
I also have the story in there.
You got a story in here? I don't know. I just got it today. I haven't read anything yet, but
yeah, the story about my first guitar is in there.
Oh, wicked. Let's see. Let me just. Oh, look at that. Your pal Stephen Stanley too. Also been on my sort of on my podcast. Here you go. Andrea Ramelow, another good one. Mo Berg, The Pursuit of Happiness.
The Hip guys are in there.
What's that? Who else?
The Hip guys.
Oh, the Hip guys. Oh, yeah. What's his name? Oh, God. See? Bad Canadians. Colin Linden's in here. That's pretty wicked.
Pete Yorn is in there. Gordon Lightfoot is in there.
Gordon Lightfoot's in here. No kidding. Even look at that. Yeah, there's a picture of him at the beginning. That's super cool. Aunt Susie and Gordon Lightfoot at Hughes Room. That's great. Awesome. Well, hey, I'm looking forward to getting into this. Sean, I don't know if you watch us, but either way, this is great. Congratulations. Super cool.
Thank you. And get out and get the book. Definitely,
get out and get the book too, yeah.
Thank you. Wow, that was a bit of a surprise there.
Gotcha.
You did.
I also sent you a message the other day with the picture of an album that I was playing.
All right. Yes. Let's talk about that.
First time I ever listened to the Scott Weiland Christmas album.
I'm so glad.
Highly praised by you 2 years in a row, maybe 3 now. Every year you listen to it. And this was my first year putting it on.
Every year when the tree goes up, we, Christmas music plays the whole time here at the house during the whole holiday. But the very first album I play is that album.
No kidding. The very first one. Awesome.
So good.
It is. It was really good. I thought it was David Bowie at times. You get a little Bowie feel.
He's a huge Bowie fan.
Yeah, eh?
Yep. Very, very big inspiration to him.
I was trying to hear Stone Temple Pilots in some capacity. I was trying to hear it. Couldn't hear it. It's not there.
Nothing. Not a note. No.
Incredible.
He's very true to, it's an homage, right? So he does. And it's funny because the first time I heard it, I'm like, is this mockery? Because he's doing the crooner style, right? Like he does Crosby and he does, and it's like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
It does not sound like Scott Weiland, but he's got a great voice.
He does. He does. He does make it his own. Some of it's a little fun, like Silent Night. Was it Silent Night? That's a little more like,
Yeah. It's almost like a reggae thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool. It's good. It's going to go on again. It's going to go on at least one more time for sure. But yeah.
It's a great record. I love it. That out. My absolute favorite.
I was a little worried because you talk about it every year. I'm like, this is, this better be good.
It was like really bad. You're like, what is it?
I mean, I know that's not possible for you to like bad music, but was just a little bit curious. I was like, we'll see. We'll have to see how this comes out. And yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Great.
Love it.
Great listen.
Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah. There we go. Otherwise, it's, now it's Disney Christmas songs and stuff like that. So,
ouch.
It's okay. You know what? Actually, Lewin loved dancing to Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Frank Sinatra. That's like that's his jam. Yeah.
Really?
He gets wiggling, he gets going. So they like the classics, but sometimes there's a little bit of Disney in there too. So
yeah. Well, I do that too. I mean, I kind of jump around a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, tell you what though, man, if they didn't like some of that classic, there would be a reckoning coming. It would be an absolute reckoning. Can't not like the classics.
Oh man.
Huh? Did you get that, or were you paying attention to my rapid eye movement? Huh?
Did you never call? It's when your eyes are closed.
Oh,
rapid eye movement.
Oh, it's not when you blink fast to see things in slow motion. Like it's a fan. You're
dreaming, and when you're in REM sleep, REM stands for rapid eye movement sleep, because you're dreaming and your eyes are moving around under your eyelids, and you can see them. We'll see if we'll do a little experiment here. Close your eyes and move your eyebrow. Yep. See, we can see it.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
No kidding. I thought it was when you blink so fast, like when you look at a fan and you can see the blades like individually spinning because you're blinking so fast. Have you done that? Have you looked at a fan and blinked really fast? You can see the individual, because usually when you look at a fan, it's so fast you can't. But when you blink, try it sometimes.
I'm going to get right on that.
Try it. Okay. Hey, listen, man, I tried the Scott Weiland Christmas album. The least you could do is try blinking fast at a fan.
Yeah. Of course. Done.
I'm sorry.
Hey. Now, there we go. The thing about this record is that it's kind of an underground thing. Like, I could have given you any REM record, like, any of the first 6 I could have given you, because they all have, they're very, they're different, but they're the same in terms of who REM is. And what I mean by that is that REM is very hard to pin down. They're a very democratic, kind of open to anything band. You might hear a punk song, you might hear, a folk song, you might hear a glam song. And they're very hard to kind of pinpoint in terms of like what their sound is. And yet that's their sound. It's so they're very kind of mysterious in that way and very unique and interesting. Not like any other band.
Yeah, I'd only ever heard sort of the usual. I only ever knew the usual REM songs. Everybody Hurts and
which ones were those? The ones that came later?
I guess so. Everybody Hurts.
Mm-hmm. Early 90s.
Yeah. There's another one of theirs that
Shiny Happy People.
Maybe could have been. I don't pay attention to them too much because I just. I heard the one. I heard Everybody Hurts so often. And what else? Losing My Religion. Right. Yeah. I will say Man on the Moon is a great tune. I think that's like maybe the one song that I'm like mainstream radio all the time song that I'm like cool with from REM. Outside of that, I'm like, ugh.
So this set of records I was telling you about is the 6 kind of early ones is a completely different sound. as you've evidenced now, right? It's kind of like college radio thing. A lot of bands were influenced. You know, a band actually, interestingly enough, the Tragically Hip's first record sounds exactly like R.E.M. if you've ever heard it.
Yeah, Up to, you're talking Up to Here, or you're the one before that?
The one before that.
The one before that. Okay, yeah.
Super college radio sound, and I think they got it directly from R.E.M.
Right. It's funny because I was away for work a couple of weeks ago, and Losing My Religion, they were playing it like over the speakers just as people were working, and then it ended, and then out loud I yelled, "Man, I love the Tragically Hip." It was a joke, and I got a lot of laughs. But
you did?
Oh yeah, people thought it was hilarious because I'm hilarious. But it was just, it's just there's that similarity. There's that Gord Downey feel with, I guess the way around. Michael Stipe. They sound a little similar at times. So, yeah.
They sometimes have the same demeanor, I find. Very kind of dark, detached, mysterious. Right? And on this record in particular, I guess this is their second one, and I guess Stipe was really kind of worn down from their tour that had happened for the first record in '83, the year before. And he came to the studio, and he was always there on time, but he was closed off to the point where he would sing, and they couldn't. His vocal line was so low that it wasn't audible on tape, believe it or not. So like there's two producers, I can't remember their names, but one of them went and found a book called, was it?
Don Dixon went and got like a Bible or something like that, or a hymnal thing or something, right?
The Joy of Knowing Jesus or something.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
And made him sing verses from that to, I think it was like Seven Chinese Brothers or whatever.
Yep.
And he kind of lightened his spirit when he got into it.
Interesting.
But there were times he was difficult, like for camera, he sang that all kind of out of key. And the producer said, okay, let's try and get a better take. And he said, no, I'm trying to demonstrate the feel of the song. And he refused to do another take. He said, you can use that one or not, or nothing.
Yeah. Second album, he's got to be difficult, I guess. Yeah.
Well, that's the funny thing, because their label, IRS, was calling the producers in the studio saying, we want a commercial record from these guys. So make sure that it's poppy. And then the producers went and told the band, they're like, they asked us that, but we just won't,
that's
don't
funny.
worry about it.
Mitch Easter and Don Dixon worked on the album.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds okay. Like, I don't want to knock it too much, but I did find that, especially in the first few songs, I guess coming to understand as I kind of looked up and read a little bit more about it, it's already difficult to understand Michael Stipe and really what he's singing about. But I just feel like the production of this, like, they really buried his vocals in quite a few of these songs. Like, so trying to listen to it's kind of like he was just there. And I think I've said this about a few bands, and I know I've said this about Steven Tyler, that the voice really kind of makes part of the, it's more of another instrument for the band. But I really feel like it was kind of what was happening here, because you couldn't even really hear what he was saying. And even if you could hear what he was saying, you didn't really understand what he was saying or singing about. So
it's true.
Yeah. But pleasant surprise for me with this one, because going into this, again, like I said, knowing those other songs and not being like a big, it's kind of like, oh boy, what's I think pretty sure I said at the end of the last episode, I was like, oh boy, R.E.M.
You did.
But Harbor Co. kicked it off, and it was like, you know what? It was almost like instant nostalgia, which is weird because I don't know them, but for some reason, this kind of music, it just felt like it just, takes you back to a better time or a simpler time. I shouldn't say better. Life's pretty good. But, it just takes you back to a younger time. That was kind of what hit me initially with this.
Yeah. It's that college radio.
I think so. Yeah.
But, it's funny that you say that at your age, because I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
This kind of brings me back to, and it's almost the chimey guitar, like it's kind of bird sounding almost.
That,
and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a Rickenbacker.
Nice.
But
it's just sorry, Tom. He meant to say backer. He meant to say Rickenbacker. Go ahead. Sorry.
First is Tom over there.
That's Tom right there. Yeah, that's there.
Oh, can you show me?
Oh, you can't see in the framing.
No. Oh, he's on the wall now.
He's on the wall.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, he's just off to the side there. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to make a taxidermy joke, but I thought better of it at the last minute.
Okay, got it. Oh.
I forget what it was. Oh, Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, that's a very distinctive sound. And it does kind of harken back, right? So when you hear it, be it in your 30s or in your 50s, it's like, ooh.
Yeah, a little bit of chorus, a little bit of flange on the guitar. You're right, birdsy. It's cool. It's cool. And Harbor Coat was a good way to kind of like kick that off and bring me into like a whole new world of R.E.M. Now, the more I listened to it, started to get a little tired of it. I tried to listen to these albums a few times, and I was really excited. It's funny because sometimes it works the opposite way, right? It's like
it usually does.
Really tough to listen to. This one, I was like super excited through the whole album. I was like, "Oh, this is great!" Like I don't know any of this, and then the more I listened to it, I was like, "Okay."
That's the reverse of which it happened.
It's 100%. Yeah. So anyways, no, I know it's really weird, right? It's almost like I just got tired of them.
I've never, that's so odd. That's very unusual.
Yeah. But first listen was a gas. Yeah. And,
good.
Harbor Coat was fun. It was nice. It was boppy. What's that line? Handshake's fine. If it's all that you got, it's kind of cool. And I don't know what Harbor Coat is, but it was good and enjoyable.
I don't either. There's a lot of mystery in these lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot. There's a lot of ambiguity. And again, there's the Gordon Downey thing, right? Because one line might be taken from somewhere, another line might be taken from somewhere else. So you can speculate, but you really don't know what it's about exactly.
Which I think is kind of cool for songwriters. I mean, probably maybe is the most inspiring for songwriters, maybe about the two of them. And maybe speaking most directly to like Michael Stipe right now is that it's kind of made it okay, maybe to be super ambiguous or to not be so direct and to know that you can maybe just have a line here mixed with a line there and then come back to a chorus and then, whatever you want to do. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of what taught me a little bit. It was like, oh, it doesn't have to just be, I mean, I think I prefer it, but it doesn't have to just be cut and dry, straight and narrow,
Well, that's, again, that's why I picked this band. I want there to be kind of a very wide breadth of, genres, but also musical, kind of, atmospheres and ideas.
Yeah. Seven Chinese Brothers is
love this song.
This is a really good song. Yeah.
This is cool also because this is a bit of book that I read when I was a little kid.
Oh yeah?
Did you know that?
No.
The book is called The Five Chinese Brothers. And so let me see if I can get this right. So the plot basically was all five brothers looked identical. Okay. Each one had a special power. And one of them could swallow the ocean. And that's directly referenced in this song. Swallowing the ocean. It says 7 Chinese brothers swallowing the ocean. It was only one that could do that. One of them had his neck was indestructible. One of them could not be burned. One of them could hold his breath forever. One could swallow the ocean. Oh, the fifth brother he could stretch his legs as long as he wanted. That was the fifth power. So the guy sees the swallow the ocean guy, brother, sees his, like a young boy fishing. And he says, hey, I can swallow the ocean and you can walk on the seabed and just pick up all the fish and bring them home to your family. He's like, oh, that's great. So he swallows the ocean and it's in his mouth. And so the boy is like, he doesn't stop, right? He wants all the fish. And the guy's like, he's trying to tell him like, I got to spit it
Hurry
out.
Up. Yeah.
So the boy isn't listening because he wants all the fish.
It's great.
So eventually he spits the ocean back out and the boy drowns. He's accused of murder, and then he's sentenced to death because this boy drowned. So he's on trial to be executed. And so what they do, because they all look exactly the same, they appeared for him at the execution, and they tried to kill him in different ways. But the brother, he couldn't be beheaded because he had an indestructible neck. Then they tried to drown him, but that was the brother with the longest legs. So he just put his legs down on the ocean bed, and they couldn't.
Wow.
Then they tried to burn him at the stake, but that was the brother who couldn't be burned.
Oh.
Anyway, so the moral of the story was basically that, obviously we can't kill this guy, so he must be innocent, and off you go, and everybody lived happily ever after.
That's wild.
This song, sorry, that was very long, but this song was about that book.
Huh. Or
referenced it at least.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why it's 7 Chinese brothers, because it was 5.
5 Chinese brothers, 7 Chinese. That's why. I think maybe 7 sounds better than 5.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Look at you. That's why you're on the show.
I mean, all right, folks. We'll see you next year. Have a good one. Well, I'm gonna quit while I'm ahead. Definitely a super catchy tune. 7 Chinese brothers. Well,
oh, that's great.
Yeah.
The Black Crowes. Well, the Black Crowes brothers, the Robinson brothers.
Yeah.
Covered this. And played it with Peter Buck in 2020. Yeah. Live.
Oh, cool.
When they were in Georgia, because they're from Georgia too.
Yeah.
Peter Buck apparently was there. They called him up and they played this tune live.
Cool.
That would have been pretty cool to hear.
Yeah. R.E.M. still together though, right? Or not? Are they? Mm-mm. They still play? Mm-mm. No?
They retired.
Oh, okay.
They didn't break up. They just kind of said, this is the end of the road for us.
That's it. It's the end of the road as they know it. And they feel
it was the end of the world for them.
So Central Rain.
Yes. Very good. This is a good song too. This is the I'm Sorry song.
It is.
The chorus.
Yeah.
Had you heard this before?
It only feels like their other songs, which is why I didn't like this song when he started singing I'm Sorry. So
this is very reminiscent of like R.E.M. Like when I hear R.E.M. in my head, this is kind of the sound that I hear, because this particular sound is kind of almost a central thread all the way through the R.E.M. Discography.
That makes sense. That sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. They played this song the year before this record came out on Letterman, just kind of as a rough patchwork thing. It didn't even have a name yet. And that's cool. Like, I can't believe they did that. Like, that took a lot of balls.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, though. That's the kind of band they were. It was just, everything was moving all the time, and you couldn't really pin them down.
That's cool. Yeah, no, it was okay. The song, it was okay. But yeah, I heard Everybody Hurts in this, and I was like, eh. So I moved along. Pretty Persuasion, though. Killer tune.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
So 80s, that intro. And also the early 90s a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely heard early 90s. I heard some like, I felt like maybe Pearl Jam might have been influenced by these guys in some way. Maybe not.
When I hear the beginning in my mind, I think of Friends, the show sitcom Friends.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah.
It sounds like that. That was the story behind this. Stipe called it Pretty Persuasion because he had a dream about it. And, he had a dream, so he had a dream that he was the Rolling Stones photographer. I don't know how true this is. I've heard this story. He was the photographer for the Rolling Stones. Their new single was called Pretty Persuasion in his dream. And he was like taking pictures for the cover.
Oh, wild.
That's what he came in and told the band. And so they said, let's write a song called Pretty Persuasion then.
I would love to know
it's about consumerism.
Yeah, that makes sense. He, pretty persuasion, right? You put a pretty face in front of something for you to buy it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I'm interested to know what the band felt like with his lyrics or like with his writing. If they were all just kind of like, we don't really care what you write or are saying. We're just here to play some music. And if it works with what you're singing, great. Let's make a living doing this.
Peter Buck said we would just be sitting around and there would be times where we would write like 2 good songs a week, like 2 really good songs in 1 week. And so whenever we had a decent batch of these good songs, we would just record them. We would go to IRS, their record label, and just say, okay, we're ready. We got a record. And he said that happened a lot. So
they also went with a producer before going back to these guys. They went and tried recording with one of Neil Young's producers, Ezra something like that, and didn't work out. And so then they went back to these guys. I was just even thinking about that. I'm like, you went and recorded how many songs with one producer? It didn't work out. So you could just do that. Like, is that like, who's footing the bill for that? Is that the production? Like, is that the label? Like, what is, right?
The label is,
yeah.
But I mean, maybe it was taken out of their advance. Like the record label always made money. They never got stuck. For sure.
A lot of, like, it feels like there's always still like opportunities for them to like overlap vocals, like just like there's just like, especially with this song, it's like, and then they come in and then he comes in. It's just kind of like, it's kind of a bit of a mess at times too.
That was the bass player, Mike Mills. He was almost like in Van Halen. He was kind of like the secret weapon of the band. He harmonized a lot with. He's the guy that you can hear singing, and he had a great melodic like style of playing. Like you can always hear his bass. Kind of like I envision it as like this thing that just it's like a melodic snake that kind of weaves its way through the song.
Onto the cover of the album, totally.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice.
They weren't happy about that, apparently.
Because it looks like garbage or what?
Well, they were trying to do it over the phone because the guy that they wanted to do it, I think it was like done over like the phone or it was done long distance. And then they got it and they're like, ugh, we don't like this. But it was too late and they had to use it.
Yeah, gotta go. Guess it's gotta go. It's not the greatest album artwork, that's for sure.
It's really not, no, at all.
Damn sure. Although it caught Hendrix's attention. He's like, Dad, what's that on the cover? Those snakes. And I was like, I don't know. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's call them snakes. And then I read later on, they're like, snakes. I was like, oh, yeah, they're snakes. Time After Time was nah.
Yeah, I don't mind it. It's fine.
This was what I was kind of feeling more of like an Eddie Vedder sound. Like this to me, not necessarily Pretty Persuasion, but this song I felt like Eddie could have been influenced a little bit by Stipe with the sound of how he sang this one.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Fuck.
So this, what are you doing there?
Oh. My wireless Beats headphones broke. So now I'm cabled in. I'm like you, but I'm standing and sometimes it gets in the way. And yeah, so I'm a little pissed.
It's that cardigan.
Pull over.
No, it's a cardigan, but thanks for noticing.
That's the last song on side 1.
Oh, it is? Okay, so that makes sense.
On this record, they didn't call it side 1, side 2. They called side 1 L and side 2 R.
Okay.
Like left, right.
Left and right. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what R.E.M. decided to call it?
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't say side 1, it says L.
Huh.
And then side 2 is R.
Okay.
I don't know. I have no idea why. Maybe you open the gatefold and it's, I don't know.
You know, something interesting.
Peculiar bunch of lads.
That's why after the tape, right? The tape was side A and side B, right? Mm-hmm. Naturally, that's why what came after that, the tape, a CD, right? A, B, C, D.
No.
didn't happen. This is okay. It was all right.
It was fine. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's unremarkable to me.
No, it feels kind of like again REM to come, like what they are as well. So it's okay. It's all
right. Letter Never Sent is a lot better, in my opinion. It's the Peter Buck showcase.
Yeah. They'd like to start the songs with the picking, eh? There's a few songs on here that kind of almost sound the same. I thought at some point I had it on repeat, the song on like repeat, but yeah, but no, it's a good song. I like this.
And this is where you hear that kind of Birds homage.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's in the chorus. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. And the bass too, right? Like it's this is really well put together song. It almost kind of sounds like 500 Miles too by the Proclaimers a little bit, but
a little bit. Yeah, that's a good call. Yep. Camera. This is a good song.
Is it, or is it good because of the story behind it?
I think I've always thought that weird chord change in the what I think is the bridge it's very unusual, and it's almost a bit jarring, even if you don't know what the song is about. It's it's a bit weird.
It is weird. And that's why I'm kind of like, is it, or is it because what it's about? It's a good song. So
somebody stole that, and I can't think of who it is.
Stole what?
The whatever two chords, like it's a weird progression. It's not, like we talked about this before about DCG and stuff. These chords are very unusual, and you don't expect them to come.
Yeah.
And I can't think of who it is, but it's a popular band who used the exact same thing.
No kidding.
And I'll think of it. I can hear it in my head right now, but hopefully I think of it before the end of the show.
I hope you do too.
But if I don't, I'll mention it. Hopefully,
we could just stare at each other until it comes to you, if you'd like. Do you want
to 2-hour show? No, don't do that. It's weird.
Is it weird? Is it weird? Yeah. It's it's cool. So I think it gets better near the end. Like it kind of picks up a little bit more, but it feels very indie and very like I don't know,
lo-fi.
Kind of, yeah. And like I don't mind lo-fi, but this to me just feels like not the greatest lo-fi. But I guess we should talk about what it's about, because that has a little bit more meaning, I think, than my horrible take on the music.
I only know that it's about their friend Carol Levy, I think her name was, that died in a car accident.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, totally. Because like they were on the road. Like how many, these bands just lost people on the road, eh? Like that was just kind of, like when I heard that, I was like, man, how many bands have we talked about where somebody has been killed
died in a car accident,
or tied to a car accident? Like
you too.
Yeah.
One Tree Hill.
Totally. Yeah. Well, obviously this wasn't the camera person, but what's his name from Metallica, right? Their bass player.
Cliff Burton.
Cliff Burton. I mean, obviously they survived, but Bob Dylan and Robert Plant tied to car crashes or motorcycle crashes, and it's like, man, what? But they're like, because of like how often they're on the road, and you start to think about it, you're like, if you're on the road all the time, your chances of that go way up. Any of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like with anything. You do one thing often enough, right? Something's going to happen. But like,
true.
It's weird. It just kind of didn't really think about that before until they were like, oh, they spent so much time on the road. And like, damn, you're right. You do that often enough.
Yep.
Anyways, bleak before the holidays. Bleak.
So?
Don't go back to Rockville.
Love it.
Don't go back to Rockville. Yeah, I thought it was Don't Go Back to Rob Him. That's what I thought at first. It was like, don't go back to rob him. I was like, oh,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
And then I found out later it was Rockville.
That's funny.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Good tune. Pretty good tune.
This apparently was recorded as a punk kind of thrashy version.
I could feel that
originally.
I could hear that for sure.
And it just, I don't know what happened to that recording, but then they turned it into like kind of a country-ish tune. Some accounts say that it was kind of a mockery of their manager, but others say it was a tribute to him because he was a country fan. Yeah,
I heard the former. I heard the former, that it was more of a joke, and that they were
like aimed at him.
Who wrote this? The bass player wrote this? Rockville?
Yeah. It was about his girlfriend at the time.
Yeah,
I don't remember her name, but he wrote this in 1980.
Yeah,
and she lived in Rockville, Maryland. That's where she was from with her parents, and she was wanting to go back there. And he wrote the song for her as a kind of a plea.
Don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So none of it's true, essentially. He basically made up like all of the stuff in the song to try and like get inside her head to be like, don't, because this is what you're going back to. And she would later on be like, no, like that wasn't the place at all. And yeah.
I think she became a journalist after. And so she had a public voice, and she went public saying like all these things were not true, and you know, people kind of misconstrue the song, and the whole thing got blown out of proportion. So, and you know, apparently she wrote extensively about what the song actually did mean.
Little America. Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it. Okay. Yeah.
Do you like it?
It's really good drumming. Drumming's great. Yeah, but then the chord, it's it was
See, the funny thing, you know, about REM is that the drumming is very similar through much of their discography. Like,
okay, yeah,
it's very. If you listen to the drums, it's almost like they use like 2 or 3 different drum tracks through like most of or all of it. In the same way that Stipe sings in like maybe 3 different keys.
Yeah,
ever. Right?
Ever. Oh yeah.
Like, it's just
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I know.
Now,
it's kind of funny.
It's for sure. You know, it gets this. It's a good point. Like the things that really stand out to me on this is the guitar and the bass, and that feels.
But good for
great.
Picking that up. Good on you, because that is REM. Like it's Peter Buck's guitar, and it's the melody of that bass. Like I said, he's a secret weapon. Mike Mills is with his harmonization too.
Yeah.
I mean, people love Stipe, but Peter Buck and his guitar.
It's kind of like the hip, right? I mean, like, how often does his supporting cast kind of go, kind of not unnoticed, but you know, a lot of the attention's on Gord Downey and what he brought and what he would sing about and how he would perform and stuff like that. But
that's right.
Yeah, but yeah, you know, that whole band was great. That whole band, all those guys,
definitely.
So
what do you think?
I mean, it was a 4. It was a 4 upon first listen, and maybe it slipped like half. So maybe it's a 3.5.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Go 3.75.
Yeah. Okay. I go 3.75.
That's not supposed to happen. It's supposed to.
No, I know. It's supposed to get better. It didn't. I know, it was weird. I actually was kind of, I was not into very many future listens after the first time. Weird, right? Like I was so into it the first time. I was like, it's
unusual.
Really good. I'm really into this. And then like there's some good songs. Harbor Coat, 7 Chinese Brothers.
Yeah.
Pretty Persuasion. Letter Never Sent. Rockville. Camera's okay.
Don't go back to Rockville. It's good.
Yeah, and like maybe that's like the cheap music fan in me that likes Rockville. I don't know. So
that's a funny fact about that. They released that as a single. I think it was the second single in both the States and the UK. It didn't chart at all.
No kidding. Flop, eh?
failed to chart.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of weird.
Very unusual.
It's kind of weird, right? It's like a country. They label it as kind of like a country Americana type of a song, with a little bit of punk flair that just feels like I get it. I can see why it wouldn't work, back then.
Yep.
But
okay, so 3.75.
But hey, you know what just cracked the Billboard Hot 100?
What?
Rocking Around the Christmas Tree.
Oh.
For the very first time ever.
Whether you're going to say Your Body Confidential or whatever his name is. That rapper. What's his name?
Classified? No, but he's come out with some new. He's come out with some new tunes. Confidential. Well, folks, you just turned into the very last episode of the year and the very last episode ever of Thursday Night Record. Oh, I'm just kidding. Sorry, I thought you would laugh at that more than take offense to it. But yeah, Classified.
Sorry,
that's funny. That's great. That's good. So what do you got? Who do you
Classified?
He's fine. I don't think he watches. Maybe he does.
Maybe he does.
Okay, so what's
do you want to do his record next?
Yeah, man. I'll bring you some tunes. I'll bring you some Classified albums. All right, we'll go into the new year with this next one.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we going to kick in the new year? I think we're going to be maybe January 18th, folks. I know it's a bit of a ways away, but we need some time to regroup, get our heads on straight, take a breather, enjoy the holidays. We'll get back to work in the new year. So I think maybe January 18th. If it changes, we'll let you know. But yeah, what are we coming back with? What do you think?
One band we have not touched on in almost 90 episodes is Lynyrd Skynyrd. Ooh. So let's do Nothing Fancy by Lynyrd Skynyrd.
All right. Nothing Fancy. Sweet, man. Okay. We'll see you in the new year for Lynyrd Skynyrd. Lynyrd Skynyrd, Nothing Fancy.
No, is it sweet or is it sick?
Dude. Sweet.
Can it be both?
It could be both. It could be both. When you have too much sweet, you get sick. So, sweet and sick.
You know what word I heard the other day? That's like on the tongues of the young kids now.
Posthumous?
Zesty.
Zesty.
Yeah, do you know that?
Young kids.
So that's the thing, right? Oh, he's zesty.
Wow, zesty.
Yeah. Very funny.
That is funny. I feel like I want to try that, but I don't think it's gonna last. So that's good. That's good. Probably a good idea. All right. Well, thanks, Brent. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas to you.
Everybody watching.
And to all our listeners and viewers and friends.
Like another year with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for always being there.
Always.
We appreciate it.
100%. You guys are the best.
Yes.
The best.
Happy holidays to everybody.
See you in 2024.